Welcome to the English module. Today we are going to talk about some of the English tenses. These are the learning objectives for this video. The participant will be able to recognize the similarities and differences in the tenses between English, Pavimento, Dutch, and Spanish, and demonstrate understanding of the tenses in English. When we talk about tenses, we refer to the present, past, and future tenses. There are many difficulties encountered by Pavimento Dutch and Spanish speakers concerning the English language. The present perfect tense is an important tense in English, but it gives speakers of some languages a difficult time. That's because it uses ideas that do not exist in those languages. This is the form of the present perfect. The one with the ing is the present perfect continuous, by the way. It stresses the fact that this thing has been happening up till now. And you see that I have lived in Canada since 2020. So since is starting in the past, continuing to the present. So you need have lived. And says just finished her test. That's a result. So just indicates present perfect. So have finished. In this case, she has finished. And we've been watching the game up till now, 30 minutes, indicating that it started and it's still going on. And the ing form is actually to stress it. Mind you, I lived in Canada in 2020, which indicates the complete past. You cannot use have or has anywhere near the sentence with 2020, so I lived in Canada in 2020. The use of the present perfect, so it's for actions in the past with connection to the present. Look at this timeline. You see that the time of the action is not important. It's indicated in red. Then for recently completed actions, also in red, second timeline. And then the third timeline for actions beginning in the past and are still continuing. Here is an example in all the 4 languages. So in Pavimento, you would say Nos vivimos en Santa Cruz desde 2010, but in English you cannot say we are living in Santa Cruz since 2010. And we wonen sinds 2010 in Santa Cruz. We can't say we live since. And vivimos in Santa Cruz desde el 2010. Living in Santa Cruz is also impossible. The only correct one is we have lived in Santa Cruz since 2010. For online practice materials on present perfect and past simple, click on the corresponding link underneath this video. There is a big difference between past simple and past perfect. Well, the form of the past simple is the main verb plus ed, like talked, and regular verb bought. Then you see that the past perfect is had plus past participle. So Marta had read the book before she watched the film. So when they arrived, we had already started cooking. So an action happens before another action. So the had read is the first action and then the watch the movie. So the had read, that's the past perfect, that's the first event. And the next event, that's in the past simple tense. As I mentioned in the previous video, I was talking about events happening before another event. So you notice that in the previous slide, we were talking about event A and B. All right. So for an action, event A completed before a special point of time in the past event B. So A was the first thing to happen. That's the past perfect. The next thing that happens in event B, and that's in the past simple. Then often used together with a simple past in red. So that's the event B. The action completed before the other action is put into the past perfect. That's event A. The cross. So the cross is the past perfect and the red line is actually event B. That's the simple past or past simple. There are major differences between the use of past simple and past perfect in Pavimento, Dutch, and Spanish. English is very particular about the correct use of these tenses. Try to not mix them up. Alright, look at these sentences and what do you think the English sentence would be? The pupils watched a movie after they had finished their exercises. Underlined is actually the simple past, meaning that's the second event. And the first event that happens is the past perfect, which is the one in bold, had finished. What are the differences and similarities? Do you see these? For practice materials on past perfect and past simple, open the PDF file underneath this video. All right, let's talk about conditionals in the past perfect. And sentence starting with if is actually a conditional sentence. The form is past perfect with had and past participle, and the main clause would have and past participle. This example will help you. If I had studied, I would have passed the exam, so had studied in the if clause, and the main clause you have would have plus past participle, in this case past. Actually, it means that it's impossible to fulfill a condition which is given in the if clause. So this thing would never have happened. So you did not study, so you did not pass the exams. Here is an example in the four languages. Si ba mencionaste aquí para mí, me lo por ayudado. Als je dit eerder had vermeld, had ik je kunnen helpen. Si hubieras mencionado esto antes, podría haberte ayudado. If you had mentioned this before, I could have helped you. That's the structure in English. Do you see differences and similarities between English and the other languages? For online practice materials on conditionals, click on the corresponding link underneath this video. Let's talk about inversion in affirmative sentences. We talked about it in a previous video. It means subject, verb, object turning into verb, subject, object. So switch to a verb and subject in the sentence. This often happens in Dutch, but not in the other languages. Let's look at the example. I'm going to the dentist tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning I'm going to the dentist. Mita bij dentista, mita bij dentista. Ik ga morgenochtend naar de tandarts. Morgenochtend ga ik naar de tandarts. Voy al dentista mañana por la mañana. Mañana por la mañana voy al dentista. And you see the inversion in affirmative sentences in Dutch. Ik ga wordt ga ik. Let's practice. Click on the link tenses underneath this video for the quiz about tenses.